Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1561. I am your host, Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, Mont. Suddenly, my face became numb, and I don't know why. Maybe because it's really early. Maybe just an hour ago I was still sleeping. It was great. Hey, you know what? This is
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And today we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here in Podcaster Valley, Mont.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Now in Castro Valley right now, I hear there is a fully engulfed car fire, and that makes me think, wow, I would never want to drive on the freeways here where the bays are, the Bay Area, but you have to, because
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's the whole point A to point B thing. And if you want to be where point B is, well, you've got to
Mike's
get in that car
Daily
and drive.
Podcast.
Because that's the way. You know, what I've discovered too is that there are some people that say some really nice things. There's a guy who, we have a show in the morning that I produce, and one of the features they have week after week on Tuesdays, this guy calls in, and he is this financial expert. Oh, look who just walked in. And he and I were talking, and he told me, oh, yeah, I got into stocks because my dad used to watch the stock market when we were at the dinner table when I was a kid. And that's what got me into stocks. And I told him, my dad tried to get me into stocks. I asked him a question what a stock was, and he told me, and I looked at him and went, huh? What? So that's my intro to money. Look who else walked in. And now I work at a money radio station that talks about money all day. So, but I love it because there's so much I am trying to learn. I'm interested, of course. It is a subject. We all want to make money. But some of the concepts and just the basic stuff that you need to know, it just doesn't sink in. So to those of you in the financial industry, I applaud you. Oh, but what the nice thing was that the guy said...
And here's today's podcast picture.
This financial expert said to me, who writes for a well-known financial website, said, Mike, you know, we all have our talents that we bring to this world, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to talk on the radio. So isn't that nice? What a nice guy. This bud's for you. Now, in our legalized marijuana society, that phrase, that saying has a whole other meaning now. This bud's for you. Hey! Mike's Daily Podcast is where we are. MikesDailyPodcast.com if you want to check out the wonderful podcast picture today, which is the opening of the San Leandro Marina on a beautiful day. This was like a year ago. And yeah, I think a year ago to the day almost. And the sun is setting, and there's some clouds. And the beautiful San Leandro Marina, the overlooked San Leandro Marina. Sadly, only junkies know about the San Leandro Marina. They like to park in the parking lot of El Torito and shoot up and do whatever else they do. I don't know. The riffraff. They do. The riffraff get together and they riff and they go, shoobity-boo, wow, I'm coming up with things that I didn't know I knew and I'm talking about, blah. And they do poetry. And there's a guy with a bass. I don't know where I went with that. That was a bad riff. Well, at any riff, that was a picture of San Leandro Marina. No, it has its nice parts. And as long as people that are not addicted to drugs go to the wonderful San Leandro Marina and walk and exercise and run and jog and bicycle and walk their dogs and all that, as long as people keep doing that, we will still own it instead of the day junkies. Bring your dog, like Basil the Boxer, to San Leandro Marina. And it's beautiful, as you'll see in that podcast picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Hey, there's some people that walked in. Let's say hi to them.
Hello, my commercial, it's Madame Rootabega, and I was waiting forever for you to let me speak, and I wanted to say...
That's better. Thanks. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. Did you enjoy your Valentino Day yesterday? Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes, it was great. I enjoyed my Wednesday. It wasn't a Valentine's Day. It was just a Wednesday. It was the Wednesday. I did talk to some of my involved friends, my friends that have significant others, and they all had different things they were doing. One guy was grilling some ahi for his wife. Ahi, isn't that nice? And making her some delicious dinner. And then who else? Oh, you know how I enjoyed my wonderful Valentine's Day? I went to Costco. Yes. Costco. And I discovered the Costco in Hayward off Industrial. If you go like at 1:30, everyone's leaving. And you can go, and I was amazed. Usually when I hit the produce section of the Costco in, not Castro Valley, but Hayward, it's packed. I can't walk anywhere in the cooler. Everybody's trying to grab the Brussels sprouts. But I grabbed my Brussels sprouts. Say what? And say what? I got out of I was walking around. It was hardly anybody there because I just missed the rush. And I had my wonderful hot dog. That's so good. And I ate it. And I'm looking for a sound effect.
Get in my belly!
Thank you, I was stalling. Speaking of Russia, I have been fascinated lately with the story of... Oh, we didn't even say hi to the guy that's always with Valentino. And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Wonderful. Thank you, Bison. You're welcome. Do you know that? I was fascinated by the last Tsar of Russia. I think it's Nicholas, and I'm Gus. And Nicholas, who was married to Alexandria, and they had, I think, 4 beautiful daughters. And the whole family was shot dead by Lenin. By Lenin's people. The people there was a revolution, became communist in Russia, and this happened about 100 years ago. Oh my gosh, just the sadness there. They killed this family, this royal family, because they were done with their royals. They completely revolted and killed them. But there's so much death in Russia, in the history of Russia, even the recent history of Russia, well, even back to like 100 years ago, just people, there's so many people, and they get like, there was one story when Nicholas was the Tsar of Russia, where there was like a big fun festival, and a bunch of people died. Just a bunch of people died, because there wasn't enough food at the festival. They died. I mean, like, what the... I know we live in a horrible world of school shootings. By the way, semi-automatic rifle involved in this one, and I say ban them. Ban them. Steve Bannon should get behind me and ban it. It's done. I'm so sick of hearing about these shootings. Just ban it altogether. That's what I have to say. I'm not a politician. I don't care about votes. That's just my opinion. But the point is that I find it fascinating. Oh, so guns, horrible things in history, and recent and in the past. And what the weird footnote or tag or ending to that story is that when that family, the last Tsar family, was killed, linked to the Romanovs, the only one that survived was the dog. Their little dog made it out alive. But this was the family that dealt with Rasputin, which in the Bay Area is a wonderful CD store, which I used to go in and buy CDs constantly. About 10 years ago, I was all into buying CDs, and then somewhere around 2008, 2009, I was, hey, wait a minute, I can download stuff. And thus endeth buying CDs. The last CD I bought was 2010, and it was because I needed a mariachi CD, And for some reason, I couldn't find it on the internet, so I had to just go ahead and buy a CD of a local mariachi band. So I hope I made them a little bit of cashola. And the music sounded a little something like this. Where is it? There we go. My friend, it didn't sound anything like this, but whatever. Cafe, whatever. I mean, cafe anyway. Oh, my anyway was so low. Say it, do it again.
Anyway.
Thank you. My point being, it's great when you get compliments. And soda sales are down, down, down. You aren't drinking as much soda. Although the past couple days I have. Have you ever been in a Costco and you got yourself one of those drinks and you bought it and you drank it? I have. That was my little homage to Tom Papa, who's on A Prairie Home Companion. Oh, wait, it's not called that. Now it's called Live From Here. I don't get it.
Are you crazy? That's
the name of the new show. They had to take the whole Prairie Home Companion away from it because Garrison Keillor apparently is a creep, and he has sexually harassed people. And that's the way it is in the world today. Hey, I didn't mean to get this far off the topic. I don't know what the topic was, but hey, you can call me 336MM Daily. In fact, here's Mike Matthews from yesterday to tell us more. Mike?
Hey, Mike. It's Mike Matthews checking to see if this works because nobody ever calls 1-336-MM Daily. That's 336 M as in Mike, M as in Matthews, Daily as in podcast. Damn it. Somebody give this frickin' number a call.
Yeah.
I pay $5,000 a year for this phone number and nobody ever calls it.
Yeah.
All right. I got to hang up. I'm on some avenue in Fremont. All the lights here in Fremont take for frickin' ever to turn green. But these cars are whizzing by me and won't let me pass. Jesus, and everybody's just looking at their frickin' screens.
Frickin'.
And they don't care because it's a screen generation. Everybody's looking at their screens.
That's right.
Television screens, smartphone screens, screens in the movie theater, screens. There are menus now. Cafes, like the one at Cafe Anyway, the menu that you walk in, you want to order off of.
Oh, good point, Mike, as I cut you off. That's right. We have you been at restaurants now, even my local taqueria, the menu, the overhead menu when you order at the thing is on a flat screen. Flat screens are everywhere. We look at screens, and I was trying to sing the Sign song by the 5-man electrical band, or was it Tesla? They both did it, but the meeting, to say the least, had not gone well. Upset at a presidential dressing down, Jeff Sessions had just left the White House vowing to resign. Reince Priebus, the White House chief of staff, raced out of the building, found him in his car, banged on the door, and implored him to come back inside. This dramatic episode, described by Reince in a soon-to-be-released book, proved a turning point in the relationship between President Trump and his attorney general, one that has shaped the administration ever since. This, according to the New York Times, which I listened to that podcast, The Daily, today, and they told me all about how Trump wants us to be merit-based immigration system like Canada. And, Canada used to be racist just like us back in the early, part of the 20th century. And then around the 1960s, they went with this merit-based immigration system. They used to be, nobody who isn't white can come into Canada. And, there was the quota. You could only go this many people from Asia, from the Pacific Rim, or Africa. You could not go past this point of people. You couldn't allow any more people than that. And then in the 60s, they said, no, we'll go with this merit-based system, which they say is extremely difficult to understand and complicated. Even people in Canada can't understand it. Even people that are experts in it can't quite understand it because it changes all the time. But Canada, however, wants to let people in. Trump seems to not want to let people in. Is that true, Trump? Trump?
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander.
Or whatever. Cafe anyway. Hey, then so what happened was Canada in the 60s started letting people... 60s was an interesting time, wasn't it? And I was born in the 60s. But we go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. I'm hoping to live... Now, who knows how much time we are left on this planet. But it would be fun to be alive to 100, because then I'd be in the 2060s, and I'd be actually experiencing the 60s, because I didn't actually experience the 60s, for I was born in the latter part of them. So that would be fascinating, wouldn't it? To make it to the 60s? We'll see. But in the moment, we are in the teens. We are in 2018. And it has been a great time talking to you on today's podcast. I hope you learned a lot. Oh, there is this one last thing I wanted to throw at you, that the wonderful Pierce Brosnan, who just never, let's just say, the guy, he's a good-looking guy. And the older he gets, the more he looks like he could own a kingdom somewhere with that crazy goatee he's got going on. He's being threatened with jail time. Indian officials are warning him that he could face 2 years behind bars if he does not provide an explanation for why he appeared in an advertisement promoting a company that sells mouth-freshening products, including some that contain tobacco. It's illegal to advertise tobacco products in India, so they want to arrest him. Do you know that Pierce Brosnan was really sad when they gave the James Bond role to Daniel Craig? It's like, okay, I know they wanted to go more gritty, but damn it, I enjoyed doing that.
All right.
Hey, Matthew McConaughey is James Bond. That'd be cool. Did we go outside a cafe anyway yet? I can't remember. Yes, we did. We're outside now. So it's beautiful out here. I can tell you now. So nice. And the birds chirp. Next show, we're going to have other characters I probably won't have much of, but whatever. We'll have them on. And I'm going to stop saying whatever so much. I say it so much. I'll work on that. You work on your life, and have a good one. Next show, it'll be Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!